Hi everybody, it's Andrew Hutchings here again tonight, just a few seconds after my last video. This one's going to be about post-cycle therapy. If you've watched my last video, you know that while you don't always need a post-cycle therapy, it's always a good idea, because why take the chance? Post-cycle therapy, remember, I'm not a doctor, I'm not giving medical advice, I'm not saying to do drugs, don't do them, this is purely educational. But the risk of a post-cycle therapy is very low compared to its reward, and the potential risk of not doing a post-cycle therapy is very high. So why take that risk? I wouldn't. If you're 20 years old and you're in great shape, I mean, I already went over this in my last video, and it's a little bit of steroids, a little bit of time, yeah, you're probably fine, but even then, you don't want to take that chance. So then it comes to, now you're going to do your post-cycle therapy. What do you take and when? First of all, you have to have all the steroids out of your system, and if you're injecting something that's long-acting, geez, that's gonna take a while. That's why I recommend that you switch from a long-acting thing to a short-acting thing while the long-acting thing clears your system. So say you were injecting Test E. Stop injecting Test E for the last 4 or 5 weeks and start taking Dianabol instead, or switch to Test P, or whatever, something shorter acting until that Test E, or that nandrolone, or whatever it is out of your system. And then once that's out of your system, you can drop the short-acting thing and it'll be out of there super quick. So now that you've gotten all the junk out of your system, because it is junk at the end of the day, your body does not want drugs. Unless you're deficient. So now that it's all out of your system, what do you do? Well, if it was a mild cycle, you could just go straight to the aromatase inhibitor. It makes the most sense. It gets your estrogen low, and your body raises testosterone, and estrogen stays lower as it rises. Or you could go with your selective estrogen receptor modulator, your SARM, which is going to raise your estrogen very high as your testosterone raises. Now, the thing is, when you go off that SARM, you have high estrogen, and your body has to lower things down to get it back to normal. When you go off an aromatase inhibitor, you have low estrogen, and it takes time to go back up to normal. So while there are side effects of both low and high estrogen, the more pressing, urgent side effects come from high estrogen, like gynecomastia. You don't want to have to pay thousands of dollars for that surgery. Having low estrogen that's not helping your bones as well for a few days, a couple weeks, that's not the biggest problem compared to thousands of dollars and possible lifelong changes to your chest or causing cancer, who knows. So if it's a weaker cycle, you go with the aromatase inhibitor. If it's a stronger cycle, it might not be enough, so you'd want to go with the aromatase inhibitor to keep the estrogen low, and a SERM to trick your body into thinking that it doesn't have any estrogen. So when you take this SERM, you actually have the estrogen, but your body can't sense it, so it makes more testosterone and makes more estrogen. But you don't want that really high estrogen, so that's why you add in that aromatase inhibitor to keep the estrogen here as the testosterone goes up. Then you can stop them. Your body senses the normal amount of estrogen, senses the high testosterone. They both give separate feedback, so when your body senses high testosterone, it knows to lower it a bit. When it senses high estrogen, it knows to lower your testosterone. So both high testosterone and high estrogen will lead to your body lowering your testosterone. But why would you want estrogen to lower your testosterone? You don't. Because what can happen is your testosterone is low, but your estrogen is high, and your body gets that signal not to make things. Or your testosterone is normal and your estrogen is high, and then all of a sudden your body can sense it again because you stopped taking that SERM, and whoa, now it's going to cut the testosterone production even though it was normal because it wants that estrogen to get back down. So if you're going to take a SERM, make sure you taper off it so that slowly but surely it senses more and more estrogen, and that it slowly but surely doesn't messes with your testosterone. I never write scripts for these videos, so if I should write a script to make sure that I just very clearly explain all this, I think I explain it well, but I am just making it up as I go along. Like, I'm not making it up, but I'm making up how to explain it. Another thing you could use is HCG. That directly sends a signal to your testicles to start working again. Now, that could be a good idea for a couple weeks before you stop your cycle. You don't want to use it after you stop your cycle because, after you stop your cycle, if you're really not getting any production of testosterone, it could be good. But if you're starting to get production of testosterone and then you use the HCG, you're gonna stimulate your testicles and make them think that they don't need luteinizing hormone. And then your brain is gonna stop making the luteinizing hormone. And then when the HCG is out of your body, you don't have the luteinizing hormone anymore, and now your testicles aren't working as well. So basically, HCG will cause negative feedback with luteinizing hormone. It will lower your luteinizing hormone if you take it when your body's trying to use luteinizing hormone to turn your testicles on. So that's why right before your cycle ends, use the HCG when you do not have the luteinizing hormone. Get the motors running, so to speak, of the testicles. That way, when you fully go off the cycle, and they are getting the luteinizing hormone from up above, from your brain down to the testicles, then they're already turned on and ready to go. So they get that luteinizing hormone and they're gone. Because if they're not already getting their motors running, they can get the luteinizing hormone, but they don't do anything. They get the luteinizing hormone, they don't do anything. They get the luteinizing hormone, and they start to do a little something. They get the luteinizing hormone, oh, they start to do a little something more. But it takes some time to warm up. Like if you're really cold and you start jogging, you gotta start out slow and then you get faster and faster. That's how the testicles are too. But imagine if before your run you got to get in a hot shower, get warmed up, get your blood flowing everywhere. That's like what the HCG does, so that when you stop the cycle, you're already warmed up and ready to go. But you still need this SERM or the aromatase inhibitor. Well, you probably do, maybe you don't, but it's a good idea. And another thing is, it's a good idea to make sure that your estrogen is low when you end your cycle. Because if your estrogen is high when you end your cycle, remember I said that estrogen gives negative feedback to the brain to not make testosterone. So say you're blasting your Dianabol 100 milligrams a day. I don't think that's a good idea, but just say you were. And that estrogen is really building up in your body much more than the Dianabol is because it has a longer half-life. So you've got a lot of estrogen. You go off your Dianabol, but you've still got all this estrogen. Your body senses all this estrogen, and it doesn't want to make testosterone. If it makes testosterone, that estrogen will go even higher. It needs to wait until that estrogen gets down low. Once that estrogen finally gets down low enough, then it will start pumping out more testosterone. That's why you use these SERMs and aromatase inhibitors in the first place, is so that your body does not get the feedback from estrogen. SERMs trick your body into not sensing the estrogen that is there, and aromatase inhibitors prevent your body from making estrogen. So yes, end the cycle without very much estrogen in your system. A little bit before you end it, maybe use some HCG, and then when you end it, use aromatase inhibitors if it wasn't a very heavy cycle, and use SERMs if it was, plus aromatase inhibitors. Oh yeah, how long you should do those things, it depends on you, your body. If it's a very light cycle, a week can be plenty. If it's a medium cycle, maybe you need a couple weeks, maybe you need a few weeks. If it's a longer cycle, maybe you need a month, maybe you need longer. Everything is variable. It's like saying how much weight should I lift? Well, it depends on you. No one can lift the same amount of, well, I mean, if you take the 7 billion people on the planet, you're going to find two eventually that can lift the same amount of weight, but you get what I'm saying. It's individual and dependent on a lot of circumstances. So to wrap things up, HCG, before you end on low estrogen, then toss in the aromatase inhibitors or the SERMs plus the aromatase inhibitors if you're on a heavier cycle. Continue this as long as you need. Not that this is the best way to do it, because blood work is the best, but you could always go on the functioning of certain organs that are below the belt. Chances are that if your testosterone's still low, it's not going to be functioning well. Chances are if things are getting back to normal, it's going to be doing good. Maybe you'll wake up in the morning and it will be like this again. If you're waking up in the morning like this, you probably need to stay on that post-cycle therapy longer. And at the end of the day, it's always possible that you'll do all this and that you won't bounce back. That's the risk you're taking. It's extremely unlikely, but it's still a risk. And I'm actually very curious, because like I said, I do not plan out what I'm going to say. Should I plan out what I'm going to say and write it down so I can read it off very organized to you? Or was I organized enough? Please leave comments about that down below. And please like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. I'm trying to start a business off this. And if you're really interested in personal advice, how to take your workout progress to the next level, hit me up with a message on Instagram at nat_true_fit. That stands for Natural True Fitness. So while I am natural, at least right now, I'm not against using steroids. They're not healthy. If you're trying to be healthy, I'm against them. But if you're trying to make up for lost time, or whatever your reason is, they can be useful. I'm not saying to use them, because I can't say that because I'm not your doctor, and who knows, if I was your doctor, maybe I would say it. Maybe come to me in a few years when I'm a doctor. But of course, only if you have low testosterone levels, so we'll have to make sure you get your tests very late in the day. Who knows, maybe you accidentally take some Dianabol a few days before, and then you get your blood work done. But I can't suggest that if I'm the doctor. Luckily, I'm not a doctor yet. Good idea, though. Keep that in mind. So yeah, if you want progress, hit me up. I know all the tips and tricks. I mean, there's some I don't know yet that I'll learn later in life as life goes on, but I know most of them. I've been working out a very long time, since I was like 10 years old. The number one trick is work out with an insane amount of intensity and determination. When I was younger, I worked out so hard that my eyes hurt. I'm not joking. Like, somehow the strain went to my eyes. I've worked out so hard that not fractured, but like micro cracks, or not micro, but like small cracks in my forearm bones. Cracking something in my sternum from working out. I've always pushed myself to the limit, and that's not for you, most likely, so I can tell you all the other things. And they all add up. You do something, a little something here, a little something here, a little something here, it makes a big difference overall. So yeah, if you want personalized advice on any of this stuff, on performance enhancement, on fitness, on diet, general health, whatever it is, hit me up on Instagram, and please like and subscribe, and ask me any questions.